Oh.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Thank you, Mr. Johnny Silverhand, and welcome, you lovely people, to the future. Welcome to year... You know what? We're in the year 2020. Why don't we play some, like, cyberpunk shit? This is Cyberpunk 2020. We're almost near the, beginning of robots and cyborgs and what have yous, and Elon Musk is pushing it too, so... But I don't think he's pushing it in the evil sense. Welcome to Morning Coffee with James. I'm James, and this show is my morning coffee show. What should we talk about today? What exciting things can we talk about today that are just going on in the world today? Well, I want to try to avoid news today. I want to try not to do the stories about government censorships and stuff like that. And actually, no, I want to briefly talk about this real quick because I am somebody who's very against censorship. When I was in college, I thought, and this is like something like my own stupidity when it came to like what censorship really was. I thought it was the fact that, it was to censor things that you shouldn't be seeing on TV, or seeing things that you shouldn't be hearing on TV, or like, for kids. I thought it was okay. You can't. And also I thought it was a very interesting tool for creators. Now, before you say anything, and I know half of you out there, you'd be like, oh, you hypocrite. It's like, no. My thought process changed from, oh, this is just a tool for creators to get around. Like, if you're, like, example, Rocko's Modern Life, or better yet, SpongeBob. The SpongeBob episode where they're, the Sailor Mouth episode, where they're swearing, they were literally swearing. Like, they tried to, like, border on being swearing, but they just ended up being swearing, and they just bleated it out. And it's absolutely hilarious. Like, that's what I think. That's what I think when I think of censorship, or just getting around something to tell some kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like the comic book code. How do we talk about racism? How do we talk about this? How do we talk about that? If the comic book code or some kind of thing that's blocking, right, it's an obstacle. That's what I usually thought. And I was like, but then I got older, I was like, oh, this is what really censorship is. And so my thought pattern switchly changed from, this is good, this is a good thing for creators to get help them, flesh out, because like you see nowadays, everybody just like does whatever they want, and it's like it loses its edge a little bit. Like when you're bordering on like adult jokes that kids won't get but the parents will, it's fun. But once you start to say the F-bomb and there's no restrictions, it's like you need a little bit of like restrictions on yourself if you're making something for kids or something like that, or being on national television, which is a dying thing. But a thing that really bothers me about this whole batshit crazy world we're living in is that like YouTube is now censoring comments that are negative towards the Chinese Communist Party. And I guess I'm going to get censored because, well, I'm already buried in this whole algorithm of YouTube's bullshit. I mean, granted, if I was Jimmy Kimmel, Markiplier, any of the Paul Logan, which, you know what, that dude fucking, let's talk about Paul Logan for a second. That man filmed himself with a dead body. He went to the suicide forest in Japan and was just joking around, thought he could be funny, being like, oh, I'm going to the suicide forest to do some camping, and he found a real dead body, because people actually go there to commit suicide. But that guy can do whatever he wants. It's about the money sometimes with these people. It's like YouTube doesn't care about the you anymore, it's them tube anymore. And, granted, and this is an advertisement for myself. By the way, I'm going to be doing stuff on BitChute when I get my camera and stuff fixed up. When I get this fixed up, when I get the other camera fixed, and when I get a camcorder that's actually for film and not for photography, which, don't get me wrong, I love doing photography, but that camcorder, that camera I have is shit for video. Because the battery dies It takes like 3 to 4 fucking days. I have a bad battery that doesn't charge all the way. I need to get another battery. And it's a dog shit camera. I need a camcorder. So yeah. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, Morning Coffees with James, if you want to look up that and check that out. You can also follow me at my other... Oh, that's my personal channel, but then again, I have a lot of followers on there, so... Yeah. I'm also on BitChute with the same name, ConleyBros.com, but it's underscore for each word, Conley _Bros _ Productions. Same thing with this. But again, I'm doing that so I can get away from YouTube and just kind of, like, I'll still upload to this, but it's just like, it's just kind of bothering me in the sense that YouTube is no longer for the you, it's for, you know, them, you know, for the Jimmy Kimmels, for the, like, I hate Jimmy Kimmel. He's such a fucking cunt. He's just like, and a hypocrite too. Let me virtue signaling from my ivory tower. Meanwhile, he did a show called The Man Show where he had, you know, which everybody, you know, I'm going to speak as a man myself. I like the show. I like the concept of the show, like celebrating men, and it is a funny comedy show. Oh, it you know, degrades women, and it's like, there's a ton of shit that degrades women. I'm sorry, but some women are built to be, you know, objectified, and some of them don't mind it. I'm dead serious about that. Like, some women, you know, I follow, like, a pole dancer by the name of Doris Arnold, a French pole dancer. And I asked her why she did this, and she answered with, you know, she was inspired by another pole dancer, like, you know, to basically do this. And it's like, you know, this kind of virtue signaling, this kind of pissing me off. And especially, again, going back to Jimmy Kimmel, like, the dude did a segment where women grabbed his balls. Like, or something in his pocket that were resembling balls. Like, it was just a derogatory thing, but then, like, you can't go, like, it's the same thing with these edgelords, which I want to talk about. Let's talk about edgelords real quick, after I talk about the censorship. It's, again, people bending the knee to communist China. Like, I'm sorry, I thought you were an American company. I thought you were for, you know, for the world, but now you want to censor the Communist Chinese Party? Fuck you, YouTube, and fuck you, Susan Dzizeski, you Polish bitch. You know, you're talking about, oh, you're for the YouTubers, but you tell us not to swear. You tell us not to do this or that, or you gotta tell everybody that this is for kids, you know, tell everybody this is not for kids, or this is for kids. This is why I think women shouldn't be running a lot of things. It's like, granted, I know out there, it's like, well, there's a lot of women who can run things. It's like, well, they have to have a mindset of not being motherly and not being emotional. They have to put that aside, you know. You gotta be more... It just bothers me in that sense, because it's like, who is your, like, who are you with? It's like, you know, I get it. You want to be, you know what, you want to be like the motherly type for, like, you know, everybody, and it's like, oh, we can't let this happen. It's like, that's why, like, I'm hoping Spotify starts to become more of like another YouTube, you know what I mean? Or BitChute becomes bigger. It's like, that's why I'm proud of Joe Rogan, you know, going to Spotify to fucking tell YouTube to go kiss their ass, like, and tell the tech giants to go fuck themselves. It's like, you're only, you know, you need people who can speak out, or you need, like, descending conversation. And, you know, can we talk about this? Like, I'm going to talk about this real quick. But China, like, why are we bending the knee to China? Like, why are these people bending, like, the communist money is not going to be good. I mean, they make cheap shit. I actually had to get, like, I'm buying my last products from China now, because Wish is a company that's, you know, in China, and they sell cheap ass shit. They sell knockoff things. Like, I basically just had to cut my ties with them. Like, alright, I'm throwing Wish out the fucking window because I don't want Wish on my phone anymore. You know, boycott China. Like, you know, buy made in America. If it's going to be expensive, yes, it's going to be expensive. But if we can get, production back in this country, that'll be great. I say no, don't bend the knee to China anymore. China has been a cancerous country upon the world. And granted, I don't hate the Chinese people. I'm not angry at China, as a culture and as a people. I'm angry at the Chinese Communist Party, okay? So throw your racist comments out the window. Throw you're racist. You're a racist. You're a goddamn racist. And a Nazi communist. Yes. Fascists and communists are the same dragon. But what was I going to say, though? But yeah, that's my issue with, the whole communist thing. It's it's like YouTube should be called out for this. In fact, should be investigated for this. Tech censorship is a real thing, and we need to go after these people. We really need to be, harking on these guys. Yo, stop censoring us. Stop telling us what to do. Stop telling us what we should say or not say. You know what? Granted, I'm not the biggest money maker. But then again, I want to say my shit. I want to say my 2 cents about the world. And if you're afraid of a guy in his robe talking to a camera at 6:51 in the morning, doing a coffee show, a badass version to a coffee show, then you really need to see you really need to settle down there for a second there, Sonny Jim, because you failed as a you're a big pussy because he's talking, he's against our talking points. We need to get rid of him. It's go fuck yourself. And I'm also tired of the right too. I know there's people out there who are oh, well, we need morals back. We need to get the control of the culture. It's I'd rather not see any of you two fuckers taking control of the culture. I say bring both of you to the table. Find a balance, This is, the reason why the left is freaking out over the right, and, it's because of people still remember the religious right. But I do think the right has a point about this, about the point about, we need to bring morals back. We need to bring this kind of, things that matter back. The morals are their talking points, their beliefs, their systems. And I'm going to say it too, the right needs to take back entertainment again. The right needs to put themselves back in entertainment again. Does that mean they have to take it over completely? No. Does that mean they have to, fight back against the whole, leftist bullshit? Yes. And this is my problem with the right. The right just kind of gave up on entertainment in general. They were just fuck, it's too hard. Let's just focus on the real shit. It's no, you gotta focus on the things that, the reason why entertainment is so important is because people, learn from that most of the time. People get their influences from that. If you don't believe me on that, look at any movie you're watching nowadays and tell me, do you see anything that was right-wing propaganda back in the day? You could see that from the 80s and the late 70s, but nowadays you don't. And even now you don't really see any right-wing propaganda anymore. And especially this day and age where they're just making fun of Donald Trump left and right. It's okay, we get it, you don't like Orange Man. Another thing I want to well, alright, I think I've gone far enough. But speaking about, entertainment, I do want to talk about edgelords a little bit. If you don't know what an edgelord is, it's somebody who will, make jokes that are just very offensive. For example, saying something on the lines of, the Holocaust never happened, or 9/11 was an inside job, which it was, or, saying the N-word over and over again. By the way, the Holocaust did happen. But it's when edgelords decide to be virtue signalers that really pisses me off to no end. The fact that they go from being edgy dudes to for example, I'm going to use a couple of my favorites, Markiplier, or not Markiplier. Markiplier's been a sweet guy, but Aaron Hansen. I'm trying to think who else. Tim and Eric. James Gunn. Those kind of guys. James Gunn is the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, but they'll make comments that like shock people and like shock and awe people, like especially like in this day and age, like shock humor is just kind of like dead to me, because it's like there's nothing else you can shock me with. It's like you touch on every topic, but especially like, but here's the funny thing though about that. I will talk about that in just a moment. We'll talk about this in just a second, but edgelords just kind of piss me off because they go from like back in the day, like, and I'm talking about the earlier days of the Wild West internet days, like when the internet was still like raw. You could make jokes about like a lot of raunchy shit, but nowadays you can't, and it's like, well, you're gonna offend somebody. Oh, you're gonna offend these poor, people that I need to protect, and they didn't even ask for my protection. These edgelords. So again, I'm gonna use Aaron Hansen as an example, but back in the day, like, you get some of these people who've been like making some raunchy jokes about the Christians, about this or that or this, making jokes about 9/11, making jokes about, things that would just shock people and make people like befuddled, like that. But nowadays they're like, well, I'm virtue signaling, and they become virtue signalers, and they become like these like SJW bullshit nonsense characters nowadays. And it's like, you can't do that. Like, I'm sorry, but you can't go from like the one party to the other. You can't just defend the rights of like these people when you were making jokes about them, when you were making gay jokes, when you were making jokes about blacks, when you were making jokes about Jews or Christians or everybody you thought it would be funny to do when nobody thought was looking. Now that people are looking and now the internet is still there, you screwed yourself. And it's like, I'm sorry, but if I've said some edgy shit in the past and I've deleted it, somebody has probably found it, and that's because I didn't want to get fined $5,000 by COPA, because now it's okay to make edgy jokes, but back then, but when somebody throws a fine of like that financially destroys you, it becomes like, okay, the government needs to step the fuck back. It needs to step the fuck back. And this is why we need to get, like, Republicans back in everything again. In the House of Congress, and... Alright. Jesus Christ. It's like, I just got a message from my dad, but... Bottom line... being an edgelord, like, is fine... If you admit that you did the joke, fine, but I think, if you were to admit, like, yes, I made those edgy jokes just to piss you off. Like, I don't believe in them, fine, whatever. But I feel like that's the edge of it. That's the whole thing about being an edgelord. And I feel like if you really want to be a very funny person, don't go for edgy humor. Don't just go for that well of being edgy. It's like, I gotta make a black joke. No. Go to the well of cleverness. Go to the well of creativity. Go to the well of being, not an edgelord, but being somebody who can make a clever joke or make a funny joke without using, like, offensive humor. And, like, find a way to do that. Like, you can be funny without being, like, I'm not saying just clean humor, but figure a way out. Like, figure out, like, if someone is putting a barrier in front of you, like, again, when I go back to, like, the early days of, like, Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, they were trying to work around the censors to be like, how do we, like, be edgy without being too on the edge? You know what I mean? Alright, I gotta get going. My boss is yelling at me for... Well, we gotta get to construction done. We gotta work. We gotta hustle. We gotta move. We gotta go there. It's like, shut the fuck up. You're despite all your rage, you're just still a rat in a hamster cage, spinning on that wheel, and nobody is appreciating you. Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. All right. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Love you and bye-bye. And remember, peace be with you.